Hi, welcome back to the MacGuffin podcast. I'm John, and I'm here at the Grand Illusion Cinema with the theater's general manager, Brian Alter. Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Thanks for having me, John.
And so I just had a few questions about kind of the history of the theater and what goes on here. So how would you describe the Grand Illusion Cinema to someone who's never been?
Well, it's a cozy, kind of non-profit, volunteer-operated cinema, and we're dedicated to showing new and old movies, especially older films if they're on 35 millimeter, for example. That's pretty much it.
Great. So do you just show classics, or do you ever show new movies? What are kind of like the types of films you would show here specifically?
Right. Yeah. It's usually a mix of pretty much everything. There's usually classics like more modern sort of classics, like we're showing Herzog's Aguirre, The Wrath of God, coming up, and in the past we've shown like classic Bogey and Bacall films, and every Christmas we show It's a Wonderful Life. So there's that kind of classic stuff. And then also like newer documentaries. We showed, I think it was nominated for an Academy Award, The Betrayal. We showed that last year. And we recently showed documentaries about Japan's obsession with bugs and the history of burlesque. So it's a pretty good mix of everything from the new stuff to the classic old stuff. Yeah.
Nice. So how did you become involved with the theater?
I came on probably like 7 years ago when the Northwest Film Forum still operated it, and back then it was still volunteer operated. I think there was one paid position, and then I just kind of stayed on board when they sold it to the new owners who turned it into a nonprofit. I just stuck around, and eventually I worked my way up to becoming manager, and I'm as a volunteer as well, so nobody here gets paid, or we're just all in it for the love of it.
That's great. And what are some of the yearly events that happen at the Grand Illusion? Like you mentioned, It's a Wonderful Life every December. Do you have anything else that's like recurring?
Oh yeah, every October we've been doing a series of monsters and horror and fantasy kind of stuff called All Monsters Attack. That'll be in its 4th year. He's got the shirt on, yeah, perfect. So that'll be its 4th year this year. And what else have we done? We're trying to get so the fundraiser is going to happen, and that should be like a recurring thing. And yeah, usually there's not a whole lot of other like anchor kind of events right now, but that's something we're working on. Is kind of like, here's the time of the year when you come see monster movies, or when we're showing classic Hollywood films, so yeah.
And have you ever had any special guests, filmmakers, or actors stop by the theater when you're showing their films?
Yeah, over the years, man. I know Richard Elfman was here way back in the day when Northwest Film Forum did some stuff and showed Forbidden Zone. And who else has been here? Yeah, back in those days, they actually had a budget, so they would actually bring people to visit. But since it's been its own thing, we had Frank Henenlotter. He's a cult kind of director who did some classic kind of 80s low budget horror stuff. The Living Wake, that was like a kind of tiny low budget film, comedy film. We had the director for that, Sol Tryon, was here. Trying to think of anybody else. We showed a documentary about the rock poster scene around the North America mainly, called Died Young, Stayed Pretty, and the director came for that and did a Q&A, and so yeah, it's a mix of kind of cult people and newer directors who when they can, they come here. Yeah.
And last year you had the first annual Washington Grown Film Festival,
That's
where you
correct.
featured local films. Are there plans to reboot that in the future? Have that be something that happens more often?
There's probably some way we could do something similar to it. I think it was kind of it was a lot to put on, and we'd never done anything like that. So I guess now that we know what it takes, we'd probably do something a lot smaller than that. Maybe not the whole 3-week festival kind of thing, but it would be nice to start featuring more kind of local stuff. It's something we haven't done a lot of, so I can't say like when it would happen, but someday I think we'll do something similar again.
And what are some events or films that you've shown that kind of stick out in your mind as some of the favorites that have happened over your time at the Grand Illusion?
Let's see. I think it was during the first All Monsters Attack, we showed a double feature of Troll and Troll 2, and for that, there was another instance where some notable people showed up. Some members of the cast of Troll 2 came to the Grand Illusion, and they did a little Q&A, and we had kind of some contest, like a goblin egg eating contest, which is basically a durian fruit that, really, it's stinky, weird Malaysian fruit or something. So we had an egg eating contest, and throwing bologna at a picture of a goblin on a piece of plank of wood, and trying to get it to stick, that kind of thing. So that was a blast. We've shown a couple times. A guy has come up from Portland. He has a collection of kung fu films that he found in Vancouver. So he's been up here twice to show those, and that's always great. That's stuff that, like, the last time it was the only 2 known 35mm prints of 8-diagram pole fighter, and what was the other one? I can't remember, but 2 kung fu classics, the kind of stuff that you'll never. I mean, you could rent it, but you'd never be able to come to a theater and see it anymore. Yeah, those are highlights, I think. Yeah, pretty good.
And you mentioned the fundraiser you have coming up, which is going to be on Saturday, September 25th. Could you kind of explain what that is and what you're hoping to raise funds for?
Sure, yeah. So over the summer, we kind of had a really rough patch where we were close to shutting down. We wouldn't have been able to pay some bills, that kind of stuff. And we kind of put a call into the community and our patrons for memberships, because that's the best way to support us, is like become a member. Obviously, come see movies, but the cash infusion we get from a membership kind of offsets all the other costs that kind of pop up here and there in a slow week or whatever. So after that happened, we kind of realized we'd never had a real fundraiser event. For the 6 years it's been its own nonprofit, we've never done anything like that. So it kind of got everybody pumped up, like the theater needs us to really do something and kind of help us stick around. So yeah, we started brainstorming and came up with the idea of showing a movie, and then kind of picked the movie, and it'll be kind of like a film screening, but kind of like a party kind of thing, not like a rager, like like a raging party, but we'll turn the adjoining cafe into kind of a Rick's Cafe in the style of Casablanca, and serve drinks, raffle, silent auction stuff, and then and then we'll watch Casablanca on 35mm. The main reason is just kind of ongoing support. We managed to pull out of the summer slump that we had through donations for memberships, and we had a few good weeks of attendance. So, but yeah, the main funding will go to ongoing maintenance of projectors, that kind of stuff, I think. Yeah.
Great. And so where can people find information about the Grand Illusion online?
We have a website, grandillusioncinema.org. There's a little banner at the top right now that links you to a page for the fundraiser. You can buy tickets for the fundraiser there. You can also become a member. You can see what we're playing, what's coming up. You can learn a little bit about what the theater has done over the years, and yeah, and from there you can link to, there's a Facebook page and Twitter and MySpace and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brian, the general manager of the Grand Illusion Cinema here in the U District of Seattle. And you can find more information at MacGuffinPodcast.com. We have all sorts of podcast episodes, original web content, and all that kind of fun stuff. Stay tuned.
1000 can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Magneto can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Even Zod can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. It's tight, don't even try to bite the side of style. Mr. Spock can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. The Wrath of Khan can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. The Borg can't stop me. I'm on fire tonight. Because I've got space game and it feels alright.